Welcome back, everyone, to the Cigar Smoke Filled Back Room. I am Doug with Tusk Consulting, tuskconsulting at gmail.com, tuskconsulting at gmail.com. If you are a pro-gun Republican and you need political consulting help, drop me a line at that email. We'll see how we can help you. If you are not a pro-gun Republican, may your career be like a fly on a windshield. In the ongoing video series about things that are not discussed enough in politics, or at least not discussed honestly enough, today we're going to talk about election year lies. Hey, it's an election year, and people aren't telling the truth, so it's about time we talk about it honestly. Before we get too far into the episode, the cigar of the day is a Monte Cristo White Series, and the bottle of the day is Minglewood's Bottled in Bond Rye. So, election year lies. Let's talk about them. Every election year, truth is the first casualty. Politicians love to lie. I'm sure you've heard the old adage, the only way you know that a politician is lying is because their lips are moving. And there's some truth to that, especially in election years, because in election years, politicians, especially the insecure ones, start thinking they have to lie in order to win. And let's talk about this up front. Probably, if you're not grossly out of the mainstream of American political thought, you don't have to lie. But some politicians think they do. Some of them really are outside the political mainstream, and so they feel like they have to lie. Or frankly, they're just so insecure about who they are and what they believe that they feel like they've got to be, everything to everybody, which is foolish and whatever. But anyhow. So, let's talk about the lies they tell. Some of the lies are absolutely blatant. Kamala Harris talking about how she's strong on the border. No, she's not. And never was. And she was the border czar and oversaw the worst, influx of illegal immigration in this nation's history. She's not strong on the border. It's a blatant lie. Blatant lie. Just no two ways about it. But this happens all the time. In, 92, Bill Clinton said that he was going to, do a middle-class tax cut. And, of course, you got, I tried so hard, but we just can't make it work. Of course, ended up increasing taxes instead. These, especially in election years, the campaign promise lie, these are some of the most blatant lies, okay? And, of course, if they're promising to do something, you're like, well, they haven't done it yet, and so some people want to believe that it's true, even though it's obviously not true. And, of course, we end up getting proven right. Other lies are not quite as blatant. They're a bit more nuanced. Politician gets asked about their position on an issue, and instead of talking about one facet or aspect of that position, instead they talk about this other part of the position that they think is that they want highlighted, that they think is more acceptable, that they think makes a better soundbite. And this is kind of, the experienced politician lie, if you will, right? Like blatant lies, my goodness, a 3-year-old can blatantly lie. But it takes a bit more competence, if you will, practice at deceit, to when you're asked a question, say, well, you're asking about this, but I want to talk about that, because this is the big shiny thing, and that's not so great over here. So the nuanced lie, it's not an outright blatant lie, it's just they're trying to redirect the conversation to something that they find to be, or they believe to be more palatable, more agreeable to the slice of the American electorate they're trying to reach. And then you get lies of omission. They just don't say what it is that, they don't want people to know about. They leave key things out. There's also lies of exaggeration. these happen. And look, to be clear, all these lies occur on both sides of the aisle. I prefer to think of pro-gun Republican, my side of the aisle as being a bit more morally upright, a bit more bound by that which is truthful. But look, Republicans have lied in the past and probably will in the future. I just think Democrats do it a whole lot more. Anyhow, but the lies of exaggeration, this is especially true when it comes to sometimes with people's, service in uniform. They will claim to be something more than they are, or have done something that sounds cooler than what they actually did. And look, to be clear, if you're a veteran, that's cool. That's good enough for me, man. You put our flag on your shoulder, hey, great, cool. You don't have to embellish your service record or say that you were, some, SEAL, sniper, Green Beret, Ninja, Delta. Dude, just be cool, okay? And it's an easy lie to get caught in because probably somebody in your unit doesn't like you, and they'll call you out on it. So those lies of embellishment, they're not restricted to just military service, but that is an example of them. An example that arguably Kamala Harris's running mate Tim Walz has some issues with, I might add. These lies of embellishment, of exaggeration, they can also be used and not very effectively often because people tend to get caught in it. So let's talk about, do these lies matter? Well, obviously, morally, it should matter, right? We want to live in a society where telling the truth is relevant. And we expect our elected officials to behave and comport themselves and speak in a manner that is at least not deceptive. Again, there's a lot of people hearing what they want to hear. But it should matter when people lie. It is morally reprehensible. But how do you catch them in it? Well, the obvious way is when what they say is in conflict with what they've done. And the reason, this is very simple, your mama probably told you this, is because actions are louder than words. The words of a politician are almost, not quite, almost meaningless. Show me what they did. Show me the record. Show me how they voted. Show me what executive decisions they made if they were a governor or what have you, right? If they were on city council, did they vote in favor of an ordinance against, gun rights? When they were on, when they were a county official, did they get in bed with the gun grabbers on some issue? There's all kinds of ways to look at a candidate's past and see how they actually behaved, what their actions were, and contrast those now with the words coming out of their mouth, okay? And again, Kamala Harris, she was the border czar, didn't even go to the border, even got called out on that, which was almost shocking, the media accidentally doing the job, oversaw the worst border situation in American history, now she says she's strong on the border. Her words, her actions, they don't meet, okay? Blatant lie that you can tell from the track record. But this is not a silver bullet. Some politicians don't have a track record because they're first-time candidates. Yes, I know. You can look at how they behaved in their personal life, their business life, what charities did they donate to, etc., and glean some kind of intel about what they actually believe in their heart, what actually actions they've taken in their personal life, their private life, that would cause one to believe that they are either saying words they believe now or perhaps they're lying. But it's a lot harder with first-time candidates because it's not as cut and dry as there was a vote on this bill and they voted yay or nay or whatever, right? So it's tougher with first-time candidates to figure that out and hold them accountable to their prior record. If a candidate lies, how can it be used against them? Well, there's a number of ways. Obviously, if the media doesn't like them, the media will probably do it just fine. But of course, the media rarely attacks Democrats, especially anti-gun Democrats. They love them. they're probably going to give them a lot of cover. So, if you're a pro-gun Republican and you've got an opponent, some anti-gun Democrat, that's lying, how do you make that lie stick? Because the media probably ain't going to help you. Well, you could run attack ads. Now, attack ads cost money. Money is a thing in politics. It matters. It's relevant. Additionally, it's not just your hard dollars. It's also what surrogate groups can do to attack your opponent. Surrogate groups are great for this because an attack ad saying your opponent is lying on an issue doesn't even have to say vote for or vote against, right? It could just inform the public, educate the public, which to my non-lawyerly understanding falls under a different, part of the whole campaign finance thing. So surrogate groups, PACs, super PACs, etc., can really take off and attack somebody for their lie, especially when it can be proven to be in conflict with their record. That's very, very powerful. But again, costs money. You could, as a candidate, directly attack your opponent in a speech you make, calling them a liar and pointing out their words being in conflict with their record. Now, this should be done with a bit of caution because some of that mud that you sling will splatter on you. Now, having said that, it's because the electorate does not like mud being thrown, even if it deserves to be thrown. But they also don't like liars. So, yeah, you're going to turn a few people off with your attack on your opponent, even though it's righteous. But you will also turn off some of your opponent's supporters who don't like the fact that they now realize that your opponent's a liar, okay? So it can still be a net benefit to you. And of course, the really nice part of that is you then get to set yourself up as the honest guy in the race. You're on the moral high ground, which is a wonderful place to be. Lastly, if your opponent's lie puts them at odds with some specific demographic or issue-oriented group, go to them. Appeal to them. Tell them you, unlike your opponent, know what everybody's mama told them, that actions are louder than words, and that your opponent is lying to them or has sold them up the river, whatever. Go to them and make a direct appeal. This is a way to harvest votes, to get support amongst groups that you may not even 50% agree with, okay? But it doesn't matter. If they believe they've been lied to and betrayed by your opponent, they may be willing to engage with you in a constructive way. And in fact, that's how an awful lot of the shift in the American electorate battlefield, especially with like private sector unions and so forth, has occurred over the last couple decades. It's been because, the Democrats, every time a labor issue conflicted with an environmental issue, the Democrat Party chose the environmental interest. And eventually, these guys in the labor unions were sitting there going, wait a second, we've been voting for you for decades, and now you're just, you're raining all over our parade here, bro. What's going on? And some very smart Republicans, including Donald Trump, went to those private sector union groups and said, hey, look, we might not agree on everything. Freely admit. But I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell you like it is, and we'll have a fair exchange of ideas. But those guys over there lied to you. They betrayed you. They stabbed you in the back. Can't trust a word they're saying. They're lying to you right now. I'm going to tell you the truth. You may not like all of the truth I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you the truth, and we can deal square. What do you say? And it has worked. It has yielded benefits big time. So, in summary, in an election year especially, and double especially when Democrats sound like Republicans, odds are real good. They're just election year lies. Don't let those lies take hold. Remind everybody what Mama said. Actions are louder than words. And you can turn the lie back on your adversary. Again, I am Doug with Tusk Consulting. TuskConsulting@gmail.com. TuskConsulting@gmail.com. Thanks everybody for your attention. See you in the next one.